I can't go another day with this on my mind. And I think it's time for a discussion. Why you so hard? Show me that you love me, baby. Why you so hard? Show me that you care. So many days, so many nights, so many tears. I had to cry. Told me you love me. That was a lie. Loving you was a mistake. 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 Play me like guitar, baby. You only love me for breathing. Play with my emotion, girl. And I don't wanna be your friend. Play me like guitar, baby. Love I have for you is real, yeah. While you're playing with my heart, babe. Let me tell you how I feel, baby. So many days, so many nights, so many tears. I had to cry. Told me you love me. That was a lie. Loving you was a mistake. Loving you was a mistake. Loving you was a mistake.
Welcome back to the Chatterbox with yours truly, King Jacob. And tonight, as always, we have another star-studded episode with a very, very special guest. And, welcome to Terrific Tuesdays, Tune In Tuesdays. We made it through Monday. We're here at Tuesday, and, we're still blessed to be on this side of the dirt. So, all blessings, go to the Most High for us able to be who we are, for me able to have this platform and to invite special, influential people on the platform. So, without further ado, I have the honorable author, actress, business developer, community activist, and so much more, Miss Michelle Lovett. What's happening?
What's happening? I appreciate you. Oh my goodness. I really certainly appreciate this interview time. Just speaking to you earlier, and it makes the statement true when we say, you never know who's watching you and from where or what end. So I say, let's keep it cute all the time. Generals, bosses, and bossettas. God is good, and he's certainly good all the time.
Right. And so before we get started, my opening was Mr. Tonio Marty out of Raleigh, North Carolina, emerging R&B / Southern Soul artist, really up and coming through the ranks, and just like to showcase the up and coming talent that stay true to their craft. And without further ado, we're going to ask the $1 million question that everybody wants to know. Who is Michelle Lovett?
Well, I didn't know that was the $1 million question. But I can tell I'm going to have a whole lot of fun on this one tonight. As I always say, for those that don't know, I know a host of people that probably already do know. I'm sure they do know. There's a whole lot of press out about me. But first and foremost, I'm God's daughter. I always tell people that I'm God's daughter. I am the daughter of the late Gloria Lovett and Mr. Benny Lovett. God has chosen me in this season to be a four-time best-selling author, curator, publisher, producer, TV channel owner on the Now Network, Mimi All Over Productions channel. And I am also known as an award-winning actress. I am the CEO and founder of Bosses and Bossettas. We don't compete, we complete each other, which is, first of all, it's an online beauty supply store. I decided to open it up right after COVID, right? And then last year, God just he told me in my dreams really to start a award show honoring men and women who have put in work. So many times I've seen it all across the globe where people honor folks based on popularity, based on association, but not the ones that really put in the work. They're overlooked. And so for me, God gave me that, and I used a scoring system, and I ended up, just honoring, I don't know, a whole lot of people. One of my really good friends and mentor, I call her Miss Denise Armstrong. She had me to speak to someone one day, and it was actually her brother, and he said to me, "You're the like next Santa Claus or Miss Santa Claus," because I was honoring so many people. When he said it, it did not really resonate to me. But as time went on, I understood what he meant by that, and I decided then at that time to take it back to the house, as Trick Daddy would say, because I am from the 305 exit 1. I see people chiming in from 305. So thank you guys always for your support. And so in January, I took it, the award show, it's called Award Gala. I took the gala back to Miami and honored some people there. So I'm just a female, I tell everybody, a serial entrepreneur who I'm just out here trying to be about my father's business, create opportunities for other people that don't have the opportunity or may not be able to walk into some of the rooms that God provides for me to walk into, just to give other people an opportunity. And that just sums it up.
Okay, that is quite a summary. So, I want to say shout out to the 305. I lived in Broward County for 6 years, and so I'm very familiar with the 305.
Okay.
Did a lot of business in the 305. So,
Yeah, I saw that you tagged one of my really, really good friends, and he's also known. He was honored in January for he's like the longest ranking DJ, and DJ Allen P.
Uncle Allen, of course.
And he leaves a legacy behind. And so him and his wife, Miss Angie, they totally support me, and I like to support them back. So shout out to them as well.
Right. Uncle Allen always, he always supported me from day one, and he always tell me keep doing what you're doing. You're a blessed young man. And I actually interviewed Miss Angie. She had amazing journey. She has become a critically acclaimed amazing author, and the things that she write about are things that we need to know more about in the community. When it comes to being a mother and raising a disabled child, parents of a disabled child, that's not easy. That's a long journey, and you got to have a spiritual journey to even accomplish that. So,
absolutely. And shout out to Donald too, which is her son.
Right. And shout out to all three of them. So now I don't know where to start with you, but I'm going to start on something that I like to talk about.
Okay.
the village, the community, the education. So when I say the village, when we was growing up, it definitely was a village, and everybody kind of helped one another out, helped raise each other kids. Like it was no one that could not chastise you. We was we was community structured, and
Right.
so that's the village, the community, and then we learned those Jews by sitting on the steps of the older people, just chopping it up with us and giving us some game that society could never give us. And
Right.
so that's why I say the education. And so from the structure of your brand and who you are, what drives you to really embrace the community and really give the younger generation some fair game that they won't get in these cold streets that we live in now?
Wow. I already love your show. You're asking questions I've never been asked. But listen, my drive comes from, first of all, God, and I'm serious about that. People that know me back in home, they know that as a little girl, I was always very, very active and involved in our church. And so, and in our community. Um, my drive comes from basically the background of where I come from, Florida City. At that time of me growing up, probably wasn't a lot of opportunities, okay? And my parents have always taught me to run twice as fast as the next person. And, make sure that you make it out of here, is what they always had told me. When you talk about a village, we had people at my church, the good old missionaries and the deacons and deaconesses, all these people make up a community in my mind, praying for me. Even the people in our community always was like, I guess, telling me to go on, motivating me, encouraging me. And I've always been a motivator. So I don't have kids of my own, but I know that it is very imperative to be a shining light into other kids' lives. I always say that maybe God like left me to help other people's kids along the way. So, I try to relate to them and the things that they have going on in this society. So often we talk about, even myself, God this, God that. But we don't live in that kind of society. We have to break things down to their where they can understand it, and then incorporate God inside of that conversation, letting them know that with God, all things are possible. That you can do all things long as you lean and depend on Him. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him. He gonna direct your path. You understand what I'm saying? You have a lot of bullying going on. You have just a lot of craziness going on. We live in a crazy society. And I'm
Right.
telling you, even if parents don't put this into kids, or even if I don't put this into, some people don't put it into their peers, I want to be that person that do, and tell them that, we can do all things long as we include God. Coming from where I come from, even now today, people are looking there like, how you doing, Michelle? I didn't have it like other people. I've been sick like pretty much all my life, dealing with different issues, asthma and stuff like that. But I was just determined, and determination, it'll take you a long ways.
So, speaking of being sick,
Mhm.
um, I believe I did read something in your content about lupus, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
A
Okay.
disease that with a disease that no one knew anything about in my family, or um, like we had no education on it. But as time went on, I was diagnosed with this disease after having several surgeries, and to include a surgery that a lot of women would not like to talk about, but I do, and especially in my new book that's getting ready to be released this year, which is a total hysterectomy. Doctors told me I had to have one of those. Right, I went through that, it is a crazy experience. To this day, I thank God for keeping my mind, because throughout something like that, yeah, you could get thrown off. And
Right.
so, especially after the doctors perform this procedure, and then it takes a long time to heal from that type of procedure. And 2 years later, the doctors tell me that wasn't it. It's lupus. Somebody else would have lost their mind. I'm here to tell you, it all happened in the form of, I lost my mom in 2009, 2010, I lost my brother. And that same year is when I had to have this surgery. And I was at the end of my road. I try to put it in books because it became therapeutic for me. So shout out to C. Nathaniel Brown, which is one of my coaches, who actually really, really inspired me to start writing books. But I just want to tell you that it wasn't easy, and still today, there's a lot of things mentally that go on. I have to keep my hands in God's hands. I don't mean to sound like a holy roly, because I'm not, but I want people to understand that it is real. Like they say, mental illness is real, depression is real. So I almost gave up for real. I had gotten to the place where the doctors had prescribed so much medication for me. Okay, mentally, I was saying, oh yeah, it does make me feel good, right? To the point where even on the days that I wasn't hurting, I would begin to abuse these pills. And I had gotten all the way to a point where I just said enough was enough. And I actually went cold turkey. Now I don't advise anybody to do it, because in the interim of me going cold turkey, I actually went blind, and we kept it very silent in my family. And my dad and one of my really good friends helped me through that period of time, only for the doctors to tell me that if you cold turkey this particular pill, which was called Xanax and Oxycontin. I was on Oxycontin or Percocet 30s. I forget what they're called these days, but I do remember Xanax. That it will cause you to go blind. It can cause you to even die. So I had no idea about that. All I knew is that I was a young girl who had just lost her mom. I was just turning 30. I had just gotten over a divorce. I was in the middle of it, actually. I lost a good friend of mine, which is my brother Tommy, one of my biggest cheerleaders. And here I am, in the midst of all of that, having these surgeries, and it's getting me off balance hormonally, and chemically. I became imbalanced. I just wasn't who God created. I can tell you that. Writing a book, doing some acting, any of that was not in the forecast. Okay. I went through a really bad, tough time. And so my job, I do believe, is to go around. That's why I often speak at the Ultimate Women Expo, and at other events, trying to help somebody, because believe it or not, we are always around some people that are going through some things. Right, and although my life may seem bad, because I know the things that I've experienced, it is really bad. I've lost basically my whole entire family. But God always have a ram in a bush. Yeah, and he still sits on the throne. And so I find it to be my job to tell somebody that for me, I had to lose. I agree with Fantasia, just to win again. Sometimes you gotta lose just to
Hmm.
win again.
That's right. That's right. So, you said a lot, sister, and I appreciate you, giving us, bits and pieces of your testimonial transition.
Yes.
Uh, but you went through something to inspire, so you can stay inspired. You
Right.
see the see, once you get understanding, it's understood, and then you can overstand it, so you can help somebody else.
Right.
You know,
Get through it.
and so you're definitely a living vessel of the
Thank,
cross, and so
thank,
and that's something to be proud of. But
thank.
what you did say to me is lupus. It's something that people don't understand, don't understand where it comes from, or they try to search it and see if it's genetically, and they want to know, was it the eating habits, or was it imbalance in the blood type that doesn't match the mother or the father, or things of this nature. But what is happening since I've kind of learned more about it, so, and this is what I'm telling you is a blessing from God, right? So I have a brother out in Atlanta by the name of Steve Crowley. He's a executive at Bank of America, and his mother and his sister suffer with lupus, and I have some friends that suffer with lupus, and you suffer with it. So what we are orchestrating is the first annual lupus awareness function in Atlanta. Um, you know, um, Growing awareness for the disease, but also live family fun, where people can get literature, nice clean music, the food trucks, and just want to do something impactful for the disease. So our community can have a better understanding. And so
I
and
agree with that.
once we get more into it in depth, I'll definitely set up that call. So
Okay.
we can definitely talk about it. So this is a blessing. So,
Thank
and
you.
you're welcome. And you said something else. Me and you was talking to your father when I called you, and I told you that talking to your father is very important because I miss mine a lot. And but what's very important, you said something tonight that he used to say. My dad used to tell us. He said, "Pray for your mind. Ask the Lord to keep your mind sane." Every prayer I ever heard him pray, he was like, "Lord, protect my mind,
Wow.
protect my family, and protect my daily healing." Because people think you heal overnight,
Mm-mm.
and people think that the mind is something terrible to lose. So when a person may have a nervous breakdown, or they have anxiety, they have depression, or they battle with why their parents don't love them, or they battle with why their father was absent and they never got help as a child, and it carried over to their adulthood. So keeping that mind sane is the biggest flex on earth right now,
It
because
is.
a lot of people don't really understand. You got to stay prayed up to keep your mind sane. You got to ask God for understanding, and you got to study the blueprint, which is that Bible. That Bible is
Absolutely.
the blueprint for life. That,
Absolutely.
that's the blueprint. And so when you say keeping your sanity, that means that it's got to be only God who can help you keep that sanity. And so I'm so glad you said that. But there is a lot coming with you, and just want to say Uncle Allen, thank you for checking in, man. I really appreciate you. My cousin Melissa Smith, all the way from Washington D.C., is checking in. She says, "That's right, sis. Tell your story.
Oh,
Set
thank
somebody free."
you.
And
Thank you.
she also says the things we take for granted. So, you know, we have people checking in and tapping in with you. And so the other thing is you are a transformational influential speaker.
Yeah.
And,
And I'm
and
very emotional tonight. I don't know why, but yeah.
that's it's a let it flow. Let it flow. You
Yeah,
know,
because when
that's
you
what
were talking about lupus, I really got emotional because for me, I really went through a tough time. And you would have to just be around me at that time to know. I kind of try to bury that time that I went through, try not so I don't think about it. But honestly, the young lady that you see today, you definitely didn't see back in anywhere from 2009 to 2016. I used to have it so bad, and that's why I don't like to really talk about it, because it's not that I'm ashamed, but it's because I'm believing God to heal my body completely, and I know that the tongue, the words that we speak, it is powerful. And so for me, I always say hashtag lupus is mad, I don't care. And that's because I would walk around with sheets on me. I would be in so much pain. I'm telling you facts. I remember at that time I was back and forth, Atlanta, Augusta, and Miami, kind of like I am now. And I had my doctors in Augusta. Um, my lips, the pigmentation of my skin, it was a different color. And then God healed me. And that's why I will never deny him for nobody. When people see me now, if you didn't know my story, you wouldn't even believe it. But I keep pictures, and I sometimes I reflect back on them, look at them, and I just tell God, thank you. There was days at a time, weeks at a time, and at one point it went for like months. I couldn't even get up, and that's why I try to tell people, God has been so good, because He really has to me. And while going through that period, as I told you, I began to also experience different deaths in my family. And I just want people to know, because I've found that there are a lot of young ladies that deal with this disease that have you diseased every day. And I just want to tell you that it's better to live a holistic life, because that's what kind of changed the things with my body. And what I mean by that is detoxing your body and purifying your blood. It is extremely important. I am going to tell you that I never stopped living either now. For real, I steady kept doing different things. I be at the clubs, I do, whatever I want to do, I did it, because I just like to live in a no fear zone.
mm-hmm.
And I just have to trust and believe that God will prevail and that He has me. So I just started taking different supplements and eating differently. It does have an effect on you. I know people say a lot of different things, but I do want to put that out there because it is true. I think I'm like the biggest I've been in a long time, because I've just been splurging and doing whatever I want to do the last year and a half, honestly. But Jacob, it got so bad, my lupus, that the doctors called me in. This was in 2016 and told me that I only had a year to live. Well,
Oh,
I want you to know that I was no stranger to the doctors or hearing the doctors tell me a timeline. I want you to hear this. I was no stranger to that. And the reason being is when my mother first had me, she had had 2 miscarriages before me. She carried me for 6.5 months. So I was definitely a premature baby. The doctors told my mom, and I can only imagine how she would feel after carrying me and after losing 2 other babies. They called my parents in and said, start the funeral plans. She had 72 hours to live. And that goes back to the community and to the church. My church that we went to at the time was Covenant. Everybody came together and they prayed for me. And 46 years later, I'm here to tell the story. I always say it that way. I'm here to tell the story. I'm here to share my love. And I'm a giving person. And I think a lot of times I'm that way because I'm thankful for life and all that God has brought into my life. And so with all that being said, before we move on, I wanted to say to someone out there that may be going through or experiencing lupus and or cancer, any other autoimmune disease, I threw cancer in there because that's something that my dad deals with, but I just want to be an encouragement for someone and tell them to just hold on. You know, we often tell people, you pray for me now, but we have to be careful who we say that too. You know what I mean? And we have to make sure that we encourage ourselves, you know?
right.
So, and I haven't always been that way because I've been the one to say, pray for me. But baby, life lessons will teach you that no. And the more that you get into the word or the more closer you draw to God, you'll understand that there's just some select folks that you want to ask to send up a prayer. As my dad would say, send up that timber. Keep sending up that timber. Because you don't want everybody's hands on you. And the Bible speaks about that. That blueprint, it speaks about that.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I appreciate that.
Really.
What a different type of podcast tonight. I know we were supposed to, talk about your accomplishments and the things you did, but
But
God
that's
led
an
you to a different.
accomplishment to me. That
It
God
is.
got
It
me
is.
standing up. That God has me speaking all across
Right.
the globe. That God has me to tell people, hang on in there, sis. Hang on in there, bro. It won't always be like this. Yeah, that's
That's right.
the accomplishment for me.
That's right. I can dig it. I can dig it. And God got a way of changing the direction or changing the aptitude to make somebody listen. And yeah. So if you don't want to listen, he'll make you listen. So, and we do have some comments. Can we talk about? Says, thank you, beautiful lady, for always thinking of others. This queen is beautiful inside and out. Her heart is truly amazing. Continue blessings.
Continue blessings to you, Miss Denise Armstrong. One that I just listen. She don't even know. I just be like, that's my mentor. I be like, that's my mama. That's my big sis. I mean, she just everything to me. So you're absolutely welcome, and thank you for doing all that you do as well.
Okay, and then you have Angelita, pretty preacher McCants. You've been a fighter from the beginning. That's what she says.
Tell Angelita, go to bed. That's one of them you need to get on your show. She'll have you crying. As you were talking about how people will begin to listen. Yes, but thank you, Angelita. She knows that always. Thank you.
All right, okay. All right, so back to now. As I'm reading your content, I see that you speak to people pretty frequently, and I see that you're a transformational, influential speaker, and you're speaking to people's lives, whether it's about community, business, personal, anxiety, depression, or whether it's about breaking generational curses. And as we begin to, because that's a part of your ministry. And so, with that being a part of your ministry, when when did you know that you had a voice of reasoning, a voice of power, a voice of passion, a voice of conviction, so you can reach people and they can understand what you're saying, but also understand what God told you to say?
Well, I know we have some people on there from Miami, so they can testify to this because it's kind of unbelievable. But I'm told at the age of 3 and 4, I would be in church and I would be telling people, "You're healed in the name of Jesus." Um, I I guess, like I always tell people, I'm just that flower that God decided to keep here, and I understand my mission. Um, as I got older, um, I was in a lot of oratorical contests there in South Florida. I was one of the very first Miss Martin Luther King, and I won because I did a speech that I had wrote. And then I did a lot of it in college. And uh, after doing the books and acting and stuff like that, I just wanted to continue to unveil what God had placed in my life as a talent. And so I found myself speaking, be it to different women at different expos, or if individuals would just book me. I just go around and I tell them what needs to be said. Basically, what you said. I come from a family that people would probably just be looking at like, oh, nothing goes on over there. But no, some we've had to dig in where you say, nope, we're gonna break this curse. Yeah, that happens in my family. We've had to dig in where we said, nope, we're not gonna believe what the doctors say, but we're gonna believe what God says. He has the last final say, right?
Mm-hmm.
As I was going through depression and anxiety, I still go through that sometimes. I still miss my mom a lot. I kind of had to just grow up overnight. And I know someone would probably be like, but you were 30 years old. But 30 is an age where I would like to say it's a vital age where you would need your mom. And especially when you're going through a separation or a divorce or surgery like I've had, but I've learned to lean and depend on God. I'm telling you. And then God's so good to me. He's placed people in my life, that can help guide me along the way. So because of that, that makes me reach back and I help others. And it makes me reach to the side and I pull these children and say, come here. This is not right. You need to go this way. It is things like that. So I've learned, to answer your question, I knew early on. And I also know that God is not through. He's just beginning with me. And in fact, for me, I want to say this tonight. At first, I kind of was like, Lord, what you doing? Now, he done separated me from everybody. It's his doing. I know it's his doing. I said, now I got a whole house in Atlanta. What am I doing over there in Augusta? Okay, well, God wants me to reach some people over here. So, I'm not saying my work is done in Atlanta, and because actually I'm in a stage play. We'll talk about it in a few, and it's coming to Atlanta in July. So, my work is not done there. I just like to go where God wants me to go. And I just know that there's some people that need to hear Michelle Lovett. They need to hear Michelle Lovett's story. They need to know that how I made it over and how I keep my mind stayed on God and sane.
Have mercy. You better say that, sister. You better say that. You better say that.
Yeah, because
And
it's real. People like they be checking out of here. And there are so many times, I keep it real. It's so many times I've said, man, I'm up out of here because I don't know how much more I can take. Um, you
right,
know, life for me just for the last couple of years, it's been a challenging time. I'm thankful that I still have my dad, and he's my heart. But he goes through his struggles, and I have to make sure that I'm there for him. And I tell everybody, I stop what I'm doing and I'm there because we all we have.
right. Of course, of course. And that's a blessing. It's a blessing that God can continuously bless you to be there for your dad. And
Amen.
that's something that you should always cherish and
I
keep
do.
doing.
Thank
Right.
you.
So you're welcome. So we have another one of your people tapping in, Miss Margaret P. Bean. She says, awesome, I'm watching Baby Sis. And so thank you for tuning in.
Thank
We
you.
really
Miss
appreciate it.
Margaret is actually the writer, director, and the producer of the stage play that I'm in called Treachery, Lies, and Deception or Deceit. And it's man, it's mind blowing. I'm not saying it because I'm a part of it. I've done a couple of stage plays. I've done a lot. In fact, um, my debut back when the doctor said I had a year to live, I got
Mhm.
better and I came back. I hit the stage. So I've done a lot of stage plays, but I will say that her stage play, it's going to be life changing. It's to save some souls,
Okay.
and it's real different from anything I've been a part of. So shout out to MPB Entertainment.
Okay. Shout out, Ms. Margaret. We appreciate you tapping in, and I look forward to see what God has planned for you and in your future endeavors.
Um,
And so, not only are you a 4-time, award-winning author, uh, influential speaker, and also you are an actress that you mentioned.
mhm. And I'm
You
also a curator coach. So the books that I have, basically, I curated the books. I come up with the topics. I give you a little snippet of my life. But then, because I'm not selfish, I allow others to tap in based on the topic that I provide, and they give their life testimonies. And so, I've also been in other people's books. I say 4-time bestseller because we're just speaking about my project, but I'm a part of 2 other books, or three other books, and they all are bestsellers as well.
okay. So there's more to you than people know, and
Yeah,
I'm glad that you get to share it with me on my platform and just to give us better insight on the see this is a real backstory.
right.
In my mind I got how can King Jacob help her produce her own documentary. See, this is a backstory that need to be shared. With so much going on in the world, your backstory has a lot of passion and conviction and a lot of what we call spiritual awakening. You know, a lot of self healing, a lot of self development, a lot of self love. And a lot of what we call let God guide my footsteps. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and God actually, I didn't never want to be, as they call it these days, a social media influencer. I'm gonna tell you, I used to go live before there was a live, and I say it all the time because I mean it. I'm like, I really should get a check for this. Okay, I actually started this. I'm telling you, I would go, I would go live on my Facebook before there was live, and I would you would find me, all times of night. I'd probably be praying for you. I'd be talking about my life and what I'm going through and everything else. Because at the time I was dating someone that was in prison. And so I had never done that. And that's why I said I have to write my own book. And that's why I started, because there are so many things that should be uncovered so that people can, know more about Michelle. I think that I actually know that there will be a different type of audience that will be picked up once I share other things, I used to go to Magic City after my mom passed, nonstop. I used to go to the Blue Flame nonstop, right? And
Well,
and I was managing independent artists at that time. I was telling you a little bit about that today, but I didn't tell you the dancing part. See, but I used to attend these clubs. I wasn't dancing. I was just thinking I'm the boss up in the club. Okay, but I would attend these clubs and still find myself in the club talking to people about what God has done for me. I've always been a person that liked to help others, but I'm one like this too now. I'm a hustle for mine. So if I see more of my money coming out my purse than coming in, I switch it up, baby. And so that's kind of what I did. I believe in the thing they say, have 7 streams of income. Honey, I don't even know how many streams I have. I mean, I've been in multi-level marketing. I realized that shapers are good for people. So I started selling those products, right? And then came the writing, the acting. I just do a number of things. I don't think I will say I've gotten to a place where I'm able to balance my life, get some rest, enjoy things, the fruits of my labor, and then I go back to work. Because there was once upon a time I would just work. And I know that's not what God wants,
Right. Speaking of Atlanta, in my younger days, I was in the same spot you was in, Magic City and the Blue Flame and Club Miami and the Ritz and
Oh yeah, I love the Ritz.
yeah. So, but the story's funny because as a young dude, I was about 30, 31, and I would be managing independent artists, but I would be the only cat in there that's got a polo shirt on, some slacks, and some chemical hard bottoms. And so they used to be like, who is that? Like, what in the world? Like, because everybody else in there in Jordans and
Right, you dressed in your part.
yeah, they were like, and so I just come to find out that DJ Umps and DJ T Rock was like, hey, come here, so. And people ask me like, "Do you know who they are?" I was like, "Not really. They like head honchos in Atlanta, like, and they like want you to come to the booth, like." So I say this to say that a lot of times when we appear to be somewhere out of town and we seem different, people want to know who we are or already think that we at that status.
Right.
And it's funny how God can put you in a position for a season, but
Yes.
it teaches you so much along the journey. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And
Yes.
so I can tell you that these independent artists aggravate me sometimes. Yes, they did. But did I learn a lot from them? I felt like a counselor, a pastor, a preacher, and a dad.
Come
You know
on
what I
now.
mean? So but they did teach me a lot about how the younger generation thinks. And so you have to be open-minded because everything they do is so spontaneous.
Right.
It's like spur of the moment. So you definitely have to be open-minded. And when you told me that you used to manage independent artists, the first thing I said in my mind, I didn't tell you this. I was like, baby girl, built different.
Well, because and I have to agree with you. Let me tell you something. You really have to be, baby. You really have to be built for that life. And at that time, I always used to say, I'm glad I'm from the 305. Listen, I had went to college, graduated from Albany State. Then I graduated from Strayer University. So I had all the education. But listen, when you're out in that arena, you got to have a little bit of education and a whole lot of street sense, okay? And a whole lot of hustle. And I've been blessed to have all three of them in my life. I implemented it. I never knew because I didn't go to school for that. I didn't know how to get people booked, this, that, and the third, but I went to work. And I can tell you, Andrea Nicole, she stayed doing shows. She's having a comeback now. So
Hold on. No, you did not just call my girl name. No, you didn't.
yes, Andrea Nicole.
So I've been dealing with Andrea Nicole for I say about a good 4 or 5 years. I know she was sick. You know, she had
Right.
to get a few blood transfusions and stuff. But
We just gave her an award at the Bosses and Bossettas gala
I seen that.
in Atlanta.
I seen that, and another one of my people was there, Miss Kimberly Newsom. That's one of my people too. Yeah. So it's a small world because we kind of like in the same circle,
right.
and just didn't even know it. But Andrea Nicole, yeah, I did a write up on her on my blog. I interviewed her a few times, and she just been constantly working. But her comeback right now,
it's relentless. And shout out to her. So she was one. Cookie So Raw, who's actually my cousin, but she was another one. She was a known rapper and still do things today. Polo, the Don.
Yeah.
And so I would work with all these people, honey. I'm like, I'd be going to school at the time. I was going to Strayer, get out of school, get in my car, a Nano Range Rover then, okay? Get in my car and go down this road sometime in the back. Andrea, she would get booked everywhere. So we be going everywhere, you know, all times of night. Ain't no time for no sleep because you got these people career in your hand and you trying to help them get to the next level, you know? And so therefore, that's why when people say to me, oh my God, it seems kind of crazy that you guys can sell 1,000 books before 28 days or 30 days. Well, see, it's not crazy to me. In fact, the very next time that we do another project, I'm going to increase it. I'm going to tell them, no, I want y'all to, have 1,500 or whatever, because whatever you set your mind to do, baby, you can do. And that's how I feel about it.
You know, and it's crazy you say it because I told people, the Snowman, Young Jeezy.
Yeah.
I met him years ago, and I'm from South Carolina, so he was in South Carolina handing out free mixtapes. A month later, I see him on the TV.
Oh.
A month later, I see him in Boys and Hood on the TV, and I said, you know what, man, you never know who you're gonna meet.
Nope.
Man, he was just like, man, rock with me, man. Check out my mixtape, man. Hosted by DJ Drummer, and I'm like, all right. So I liked it, I start, checking, see what he was doing and reading the blogs and stuff. And a month later, I see him on TV, him and Boys in the Hood, a multi-million-dollar deal. And
it works like that, I have people tell me that all the time. They can remember this and that about me, and they're like, and now here you go. Even exes, they be in my DM, golly, you're doing big things. But it's like this, again, I keep my hand in God's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Not in my own understanding. And I ask God for direction. My coaches always tell me, you could have had 1 million books by now, but that's not really what I want to do. What I mean by that is I like to take my time with projects and stuff like that. When people begin to write in books, right? It's not about, hey, we're going to just sell a bunch of them and now we're going to go to the next volume. No. Yes, let's sell a lot of them. But in the interim of it, you need to get self-healed, your own self. You understand what I'm saying? Like they're writing their stories in there. Then I take it another notch. I say, now let's do a documentary. Okay. And you can find them all on my channel on the Now Network. Okay. And just for me to hear people's stories, I just say, Lord, I did not have a clue what sought out for me to do. Because had I just go ahead and be honest with you, when my coach called me, I said, listen, let me call you tomorrow. And I'm going to tell you why. The police here right now. I done got into this big altercation in Albany, Georgia. So I say that to say, could have been dead and gone. I could have been locked up for days, years, but God's had a whole nother plan for me, for
That's
my
right.
life. And so, I just believe in keeping it rolling, but in the interim of you rolling, make sure that people are being healed and take care of your folks at the same time. One of the people that was talking to you earlier, Angelita, I bless God for her. She's one of my very first people that I published her book for her. Her book is called Targeted. So, and I haven't published any more books besides mine. Now, people ask me all day, all the time. I ain't gonna lie, but I'm always so busy. But I did say this year I was gonna, allot some time for me to help others because, that's my mission.
And with you helping others and people being inspired from you and asking you to help them, I mean, I just think, AML, author, Michelle Lovett Publishing. Like, why not? You know what I mean?
I mean, I do. I have a publishing company. It's called Mimi All Over. So,
Okay.
we published all these books along with my coach. And like I said, we did Angelita's book. There's so many people are requesting me to do it here in Augusta, Georgia. And I just want to.
Back up. You're in Augusta?
Yes. I go in between places.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say that. I think I've already let the world know. I came to Augusta to start my Airbnb business. I just
Okay.
don't stop. So,
Okay. Well, that's a great place. You in a place where the Chamber of Commerce is all of us, and so they have a great Black Chamber of Commerce, and I got a few people that I can plug you with. Like that, no worries. We'll get that done.
Okay, thank you. I
We'll
appreciate
get that done. We'll get that done. But we are about out of time, so tell people where they can reach you at, where they can find you at, and what other projects you have coming. They should be on the lookout for.
Okay, well, let's start with this. We could go grab my book. This is volume 1, Life, Love, and Lockup. 10 women, 10 powerful testimonies, called We Got Work to Do. Volume 2, Life, Love, and Lockup. 9 different men, including my father at the age of 79. And the queen. So I say 9 kings and a queen. And it's called My Pain Became My Character. I got that title for when I was going through the most craziest time and darkest hour of my life. Volume 3, Appointed Angels. I dedicated to my mom, my sister, my brother, and both of my brothers. I told you basically all my family's gone. But at the end of the day, listen, God has placed some extended people in my life, and he don't have no perspective person, so he'll do the same for you if you have encountered some of the same things that I've encountered in my life, right? So that book is called Appointed Angels, and my latest book is called Life, Love, and Lockup, Volume 4, Cracked But Not Damaged, and it's a mixture of men and women. These people's testimonies are phenomenal, and I urge everybody to go and read. I keep the prices really low on Amazon, but they're everywhere on all platforms: Walmart, Target, Goodreads, Barnes and Noble, all of that. Life, Love, and Lockup. A lot of people get it mixed up with that TV show. We even kind of have some of the same logo, and I never spoke about this until tonight because I always try to say something special for everybody's show. But if you are a person that watched that show, go and look and see that they've had to change their name. See, because I'm about my business. Amen. I make sure that the copyright and everything was done correctly. So we will be doing another Life Love and Lockup project probably by the end of the year. God's will, and I know He's willing. But right now, we're concentrating. We're getting ready to start a project with Bosses and Bossettas, right? The book and a short, and probably a documentary along with that. My book, which will come out sometime soon, which is My Life, My Story, Michelle Lovett. I'm in the play, Treachery, Lies and Deception. So it comes to Atlanta in July. I've been nominated for the Journey Awards for the second time. And we got real close the first time because they put us on the billboard and everything. So listen, I just urge everybody to please, y'all say y'all love me, go out there and vote for me at the Journey Awards. I fit the philanthropist. I fit the influencer. I fit the entertainer in the media. My channel is doing phenomenal numbers with the same content for about 3 years or 2 years. I'm dead serious. We're still having record numbers in the millions. We are gearing up to do different things now. We have a whole lot of content that we're actually uploading as we speak, to be honest, from so many events that we've covered, and we're getting ready to cover some more. I want to give a shout out to Black women in media. It's amazing to me. Now, I was placed in the nomination as one of the honorees, and I think I didn't have like a lot of year of experience like other people, but I still placed very high. So for that matter, for that fact alone, they placed me, gave me a ticket. So I probably got to go to New York. I just don't know how to do this. New York, and then you got the Journey Awards, and I think I just rather stay at the Journey Awards and then go, on. And I want to thank everybody that has already voted for me for the Empire Diva. That actual event is out in New Orleans. So shout out to Nadia. And I just know, listen, I've gotten a lot of accolades and awards. And I'm always placing other people in places and positions because I want to help somebody along the way. You can find me at on Facebook, author Michelle Lovett. You can find me on Instagram, where I have right now currently over 160,000 followers at Mimi All Over, and that's MEMEALLOVER and the number 2. Also, you can go to our website, www.lifeloveandlockup.com. And when you want to get you some products, go to pullittogethershapers.com. I know you could go out there and Google my name and it'll show you everything else. That's how God's working in this season. He's setting it up for me. He's allowing me to set up the room. So I'll say it that way.
All right. So you heard it first on the chatter box. And before we get out of here, just got a quick couple announcements I want to make. I am nominated for Podcast of the Year at the Southern Independent Music Awards. It's going to be in Jonesboro, Georgia. And I have another nomination for the American Music Awards that's going to be in Stone Mountain, Georgia at the Atrium. And we have some Southern Soul events coming up where we're going to be moving some artists around, taking them different places, featuring Adrian Bagger, Tony Armardi, Urban Mystic, Dave Tolliver from Men at Large, and none other than Big V of the Nappy Roots. So we're moving around in this season, and just thank everybody for tuning in.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you. And I started this podcast. It's community based, and for influential driven people. And so this podcast, whether you're the local hardware store and you've owned it for the last 25 years, or or whether you was coached by Denzel Washington, or whether you were a Pop Warner star that went to the NFL. No matter what your walk of life is, you have a backstory that need to be heard to the masses. In the chatterbox with King Jacob wants you. So thank you for tuning in. Stay safe, be blessed, always stay encouraged, and most of all, just remember, we are blessed by the best. Have a good night, everyone.
Oh, wow. That was good.